What is up, fellas? We are back for another UFC predictions video. This time for UFC 323, Dvalishvili versus Jan 2. Last pay-per-view of the year, fellas. Really stacked card. I'm looking forward to breaking this one down for you. Hoping we can keep the momentum over the last couple of weeks. The last two cards, if you've tapped in with my picks at all on predictions that I've done for the fights in my videos, last two cards, I'm 23 for 26 with like almost a 90% pick rate. Like we've been beasting these last two cards. Um, so yeah, hopefully we can keep the ball rolling. Good card. I've done a decent amount of tape study for this, so let's jump right into it, fellas. Kicking us off at featherweight. It's already a good fight, man. Muhammad Niamov taking on Myron Santos. Myron Santos coming in at a pretty decent sized favorite, minus 250. Um, I do think he wins. Naimov is a tricky guy. He's a tough guy. Decent striking, decent grappling, good durability, decent enough cardio. He has a win over Nathaniel Wood. I mean, he's a solid fighter. Beat Bogdan Grad in a decision, which I didn't love the performance in. Granted, Grad's a tough, strong, physical guy, kind of like Niamov. Con Offley. Con Offley's all right. Lost to Felipe Lima, who's really good. But he's a solid fighter. He's a solid test for Myron Santos. But Myron Santos is honestly coming off of, in my opinion, a win over a much more technical guy. Uh, Maybe not necessarily a harder guy to beat. Certainly not physically stronger or bigger, in my opinion. But Sadiq Yusuf's a good win, and then he got this win over Francis Marshall, which in my opinion is a robbery. But that's just because I picked Francis Marshall as at plus 250 against him. And even Myron Santos says he thought Marshall won that fight, but it's neither here nor there. He competed pretty well. Got dropped in this fight pretty bad, but he stayed with it and kept the fight going to a decision. I like Myron Santos in this fight because honestly, I do believe in the young guy. I think he's a really great striker. He's got really great eyes, good timing, good speed. He's got good low kicks as well. I think his grappling defense, I think it'll hold up fine here against Naimov because I don't think Naimov's actually a better grappler than Francis Marshall. And I don't see Naimov knocking down Myron Santos on defeat. I think one of the reasons that Francis Marshall had so much success against Myron Santos in this fight was because of the knockdown. It opened up the grappling a lot more because Myron Santos had to be respectful of what was getting thrown his way, and he probably didn't want to get caught and dropped again. Con Offley, similar opponent. Myron Santos hit a highlight reel, beautiful KO on him. I think I like Myron Santos here. Line might be, I don't want to say it's wide. I'd probably line Myron Santos like minus 200 personally. So it's not that wide. A little bit of a reach advantage. A lot of people picking Santos by decision. I could see it. I could honestly also see him chinning Naimov. Even though Naimov is durable, the way Myron Santos strikes isn't like a power hitter who's gonna one punch KO you. Even though he will one punch KO you, it's more of a guy who will hit you with a shot that you don't see from an odd angle. He's a real sniper. So honestly, I think he could win inside the distance as well. Uh, more than likely decision, but I think he can definitely win by KO here. Moving up to middleweight, Mensur Abdul Malik taking on Antonio Trocoli or Trocoli. Um, I'll go with Mensur Abdul Malik. This is another layup performance for Mensur Abdul Malik, coming off I think this was a no contest or something like that. It got overturned against Cody Brundage. He was winning this fight. I don't love that he was taking Cody Brundage to a decision though. Beat Nick Klein, had a little bit sketchy there. Nick Klein's not very good. Dusko Todorovic. Honestly, I think Dusko Todorovic would beat the dog shit out of Antonio Trocoli. I don't think he's good at all. He got battered by Shara Magomedov, got smashed by Trishan Gore or Treason Gore. Yeah, I'm with the people on this one. I'm going with Mansour Abdul Malik by TKO. He could get it done early or he could get it done late. I do like that he's taken it late a couple of times lately. Just kind of it gives him the experience, right? So if it does get extended past like that first round, he's not, you know, completely out of it, right? He's not going to be shocked by going into deeper waters, and I think he is still more dangerous. I just don't think much of Antonio, to be honest. Mansour Abdul Malik wins inside the distance for me personally. Moving up to light heavyweights, Ibo Aslan taking on Iwo Baranuski. Debuting guy in Ivo Baranowski had a great win on the Contender Series over Muhammad Ali. I shit you not, that is his name. Really touted guy though, Muhammad Ali. He was very, very respected and kind of hyped up on the Contender Series, only to get brutally fucking slept out cold by Ivo Baranowski. This guy's actually pretty good, and I do think he's a bad matchup for Ivo Aslan. I've never been an Ivo Aslan guy. I've always thought he was really, really bad. Like to the point to where I genuinely picked Rafael Sequeira in his debut against Ivo Aslan. That's how bad I think Ivo Aslan is. And he is bad, dude. I faded him again with Iwan Kutelaba as an underdog. Obviously, we hit. I faded him with Billy Elikana as well. I just don't think Ivo Aslan is good. And this performance against Elikana was horrible. He just didn't do anything. He just AFK'd in front of him and threw nothing and thought that would win him a decision. But the reason I like Baranowski here is just because he's well rounded. He's got good power. He's got decent kickboxing. But he has a distinct grappling advantage, in my opinion, here. And he can use that. He has a submission advantage, and he's got decent ground and pound as well. And he's got good control. And I think he can hang on the feet with the power. I think the only way Ivo Aslan wins this fight is by cracking Baranowski and knocking him out. Um, I don't. If it goes to like a dog fight, I think I would take Evo. Not Ebo, Ewo. I gotta clarify that they have like the same fucking name. Uh, but I trust Baranowski to mix it up. This guy's also a guy with some decent amateur experience as well. Um, so I just maybe you get one of those things where it's a UFC debut. He comes out a little stiff, a little jittery, and he gets chinned or he gets beat up. It could happen, but I just think he's got a good skill set matchup here against Ivo Aslan. And I don't think Ivo Aslan's made the gains to his grappling to stop Baranowski's. Like the way he got manhandled by Kutalaba on the mat was exactly what I expected to happen. I've also seen this guy, I believe he got manhandled by Anton Turkali back in the day. The Pleasure Man, I'm pretty sure he has a loss to him as well. Uh, yeah, a lot of people are picking Baranowski by TKO. He's live to win by submission. Nobody's picking Baranowski by submission, but he could win by submission. He's got some on his record. Uh, I can't remember. Is it his regular record or is it might be in his amateur career? I know he has at least a win by submission. I might be coping. I'm pretty certain about it though. But I think Baranowski, if he wins, probably wins inside the distance. Although I do trust him if it goes 3 rounds as well, because he's got a lot of experience outside of his professional career. Moving on to lightweight, Edson Barbosa taking on Jalen Turner. Guys, this is a no-brainer for me. I got to be real. I'm going with Jalen Turner. Edson Barbosa is washed. I picked him to beat Drakkar Klose in his last fight because I thought he would win a decision based on damage or maybe even chin Drakkar Klose. Edson Barbosa looked horrible, man. He is really showing his age, in my opinion, which is sad because he's one of my favorite lightweights of all time. And Jalen Turner, despite retiring and being 1 for 4 in his last 5, the guy's only 30. The guy's a head case. The guy doesn't lose because his skill set's bad, in my opinion. This guy's a freak athlete. He's gigantic for the division. He's very dangerous. He's younger. He has way less miles. And my biggest gripe with this and why I think this is just a no-brainer is Edson Barbosa's durability is chopped, in my opinion. Watching how badly he was getting rocked by Drakkar Klose, who's not a power hitter, who doesn't really knock anybody out. I mean, fuck, he couldn't knock out Beneil Dariush on the feet, man. You know what I mean? Landing clean shots on Beneil Dariush couldn't even knock him out. All he could do was wobble him, and we saw Benoit Saint Denis KO him in 10 seconds. You know what I mean? And Edson's taken a lot of damage in his last few fights. Took some good damage from Lerone Murphy, and he looked uber washed in this fight. He looked really good against Sadiq Youssef in the later rounds after Sadiq Youssef death gassed. But he also took an insane amount of fucking damage against Sadiq Youssef early on in that fight. Somehow made it through, but he took a lot of damage against Close. Billy Quarantillo was having some success until he got chinned. Bryce Mitchell drops him, you know what I mean? I think Jalen Turner's going to flatline KO Edson Barbosa. And I think he can win by submission too, because Barbosa's grappling's not, in my opinion, on the level of Jalen Turner's, who is susceptible to the grappling Turner, but I think he's a legit jiu-jitsu player. And I think he can hurt Barbosa on the feet and follow him to the ground and submit him. I think Jalen Turner wins inside the distance like 9 out of 10 times here. I think Barbosa might retire too, which would be really fucking sad, to be honest. Moving up to middleweight, Marvin Vettori taking on Bruno Fahea. This is one I'm torn on. This is one I don't have a good read on. Well, I do. It's just I want to go with Bruno Fajea. I want to go with the hot hand, so to speak. Marvin Vettori has not looked good in his last couple of fights. He looked pretty bad against Brendan Allen. Looked pretty bad against Delidze. And then we're looking at 2 years ago where he's just taken so much damage. And my problem is I think he's a little bit washed. And at some point, his chin's gotta go. Right? Like we're fighting guys who don't. I mean, the Delidze hits pretty hard, but Brendan Allen doesn't. This guy Bruno Fajea does hit hard, and I just worry about the momentum he has and Marvin Vittori's inability to move his head. And it's not like Marvin's striking is necessarily dangerous. However, I do want to say I think Bruno Fajea's chin is a little bit suspect. I think I don't trust his durability that much, right? Um, I do trust his power a lot, and I also think Bruno Fajea with his judo background, I think he could crack Marvin Vittori with a big shot. Maybe not drop him, maybe not knock him out, but I think it opens up his grappling, and he's got decent submission skills. Bruno Fajea, I believe he just hit a fucking armbar. Yeah, he hit an armbar really easy on Jackson McVeigh, who granted isn't a high level of comp, but that doesn't necessarily matter. You know, he subbed Armin Petrosian with a fucking armbar too, who's much better, who's a much better fighter than Jackson McVeigh, who's a dangerous kickboxer and a dangerous striker. In my opinion, more dangerous than Marvin Vittori. Marvin Vittori's got a good pace for 3 rounds. He's got great durability. He's got a nice 1-2, but the game plan never really changes. I don't think he'll have grappling success here. Maybe he could hurt Bruno Fajea. I don't trust the durability with Bruno. That shot Nursultan Ruzaboev knocked him out with keeps playing in my head. And I know Nursultan hits pretty hard, but I that type of knockout just kind of gives me the vibe. I don't know. I might be underrating Bruno Fajea's durability, honestly. But I like the power. I like the momentum. He's going to be confident. I think he's got a jiu-jitsu grappling edge. I think he's got a raw grappling edge as well. I think he's got a power advantage here. And I don't think he necessarily has to worry so much about what's coming his way. Or I feel like Marvin Vittori, the pressure's on. A lot riding on this fight. This is a must-win for him, I feel like. Only 2 inches of reach for Marvin. It's going to be a close competitive fight. I really don't have a great read on it, but I'm going with Bruno Fajea. Dude, part of me wants to say he wins inside the distance. I could see him submitting Marvin. I could see him landing a big shot on Marvin Vittori, hurting him, getting him on the mat, maybe landing some ground and pound and going for like a submission. I could honestly see it happening. Maybe I'm just underrating Marvin Vittori, but I just have not. He hasn't looked good to me lately. I'm going with Bruno Fajea, and I'm going to be really bold. I'm assuming the line for Bruno Fajea inside the distance has to be fucking crazy because Marvin Vittori is pretty much unfinishable, but I don't mind it here. But I don't give betting advice. Remember that. This is not betting advice. I do not give that to you. Moving up to lightweight, talk about a fucking banger. Faris Ziyan taking on Nazim Sadikov. This is a fight I'm really looking forward to. Both guys streaking in the lightweight division. A very closely lined fight. However, in my opinion, there's a guy I definitely want to go with over the other. And I want to go with Faris Ziyan here. I think Nazim Sadikov's good. You know, I picked him as an underdog against Ishmael Bonfim, who's a big underdog here, right? I, however, have not like a lot of these fights he's losing until he's not. This is a good win over Evan Elder, but it's a cut. But he landed the strike, right? Terrence McKinney, he got through easily. Vyacheslav Borishev, he got lucky that this was a draw, man. Just straight up. He got lucky that this was a draw because Borishev won, I believe it was rounds 1 and 3 clearly. Just landed way better shots on Sadikov. Now, granted, Sadikov hurt him really bad in round 2 with like a head kick, a good grounded pound. But Borishev started to fight his way back into that fight and at the end of round 2 as well. And then he just carried it on in round 3 and just beat up Sadikov. Close fight here, which I don't love because Borishev hasn't done anything since this. He's looked horrible. Ishmael Bonfim, good win, but Ishmael's a guy I've known for a long time since he fought Beneil Dariush, where I picked Beneil Dariush to beat him. I don't know if I was making YouTube videos then, but I bet on Beneil Dariush to beat Ishmael Bonfim. He's just a guy who's really talented, but when the going gets tough, he gets going. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I love this win too much. And then having a shootout with Nicholas Mata, I don't necessarily love. Nicholas Mata is dangerous. He's powerful. But Sadikov is almost finished there. And Faris Ziyan's a guy who's very technical, sits on the outside a lot, And Sadakov's kind of a dog. He thrives in that scrap. Or Farisiam is kind of like, stay the fuck away from me. And he's good at that. And he'll poke, he'll prod, and he's big for this division as well. And he's coming off of this win over Mike Davis. Mike Davis is fucking legit, dude. Granted, I do think Mike Davis was compromised in some way in this fight. I was very confused watching this fight with Mike Davis's performance. I'm pretty sure he was hurt in this fight, especially on a rewatch. KO'd Matt Perfola fucking brutally, dude. One of the most horrific knockouts I've ever seen. The split decision over Claudio Puelles, though, gives me some pause for sure. Beat Jai Herbert. Jai Herbert's a hard dude to beat, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Uh, Big Lack solid too. I think I like Faris CM here. He's got a enormous reach advantage, and he's good with that reach. He's not just a tall guy. He uses that well. Training at Killcliff, two really good gyms here, honestly, going at it. I'm just gonna lean Farisiam. I think he wins a decision. Seems like more people picking Sadikov. Fair enough. I mean, he's a good underdog. I mean, he hasn't given you a reason to really doubt him. I haven't doubted him. I picked him in this fight. I picked Borishev here. I did pick Borishev here, and we should have got that fucking decision. We should have gotten it. I'm being serious. Picked him against Terrence. I can't remember if I picked him against Evan Elder. Evan Elder's good. I might have picked Evan Elder. But yeah, I'm gonna lean for CM here. I think he wins a decision. Moving up to women's flyweights, Macy Barber versus Karine Silva or Karine Silva. I'm going with Karine Silva here over Macy Barber. I don't know why she's the favorite. Macy Barber's got a lot of shit going on. She dropped out of her last fight. I think she had a fucking seizure backstage or something like that, like some serious shit. She's got a lot of stuff going on like that, and I don't. That puts me off. But another thing is, I think Macy Barber's always been somebody who struggled with someone who has any type of grappling at all. She's been taken down and controlled so many times in her fights. Karine Silva can do that. And she's good there too. She's good all around. She's got good strike. She's just very well rounded. That's basically what I'm saying. She's just very solid, very well rounded. I trust her here as an underdog. She's the bigger lady. I think she's stronger. I think she has a clearer advantage in the grappling than Macy Barber will have on the feet. I do think she's a much sharper striker, but it's women's flyweight, man. And Macy Barber, 2 years ago, her last fight. She was scheduled to fight Blanchfield, but she dropped out with that health issue. I really worry about that. And you see the split decision to Andrea Lee, not a good look. I believe she got taken down in this fight too. And Andrea Lee's not that kind of a grappler. You know what I mean? Jessica I going to a decision. I don't love Karine Silva. Dione Barbosa is good. She's dangerous, and that's 3 months ago. That's activity at a decent level of comp. Arujo loss. Arujo can fraud check a lot of people who aren't quite ready. And I think this is a good learning loss for her. And then, you know, Ariane Lipsky, not a bad fucking win. Marina Moroz is a bad win, but she handled her easy. Caitlin Souza, knee bar. I'm gonna go with Karine Silva. Nobody's going with her. 18% of people going with Karine Silva. It's crazy. I think she's live here. I think she could win by submission, to be honest. But I do agree more than likely, probably a decision. It is women's flyweight, so be serious. Moving up to lightweight, another absolutely sick fight. I'm really stoked for this one, guys. Terrence McKinney taking on Chris Duncan. This is going to be a banger for however long this lasts. Um, Chris Duncan, dude, he's been impressing me, man. I was not a Chris Duncan believer. I saw him on the Contender Series get slept by Borishev, and I was like, I don't know if I can trust this guy's durability. I don't know if I can trust this guy, but he's giving me no reason not to, honestly. Beat Yanal Ashmouz clear, broke his arm in that fight with, I believe, a kick, and decent win. Lost to Manuel Torres, got muscle fucked and destroyed. Manuel Torres is a freak like that, though. I don't really blame, and he landed a good shot, too. He was live there. It was just, he got mogged in the first round. Balaji Oki. See, this is the thing, though. I picked Oki, and Oki sticks his head in the guillotine. Fucking Vucinic. I picked Vucinic, and he sticks his head into the fucking guillotine. But this fight, this is the fight where I'm like, all right, I gotta put some serious respect on Mr. Duncan's name. He went out there against Matusz Rebecki, who's in a banger and a war every single time, and he stood in the center with him and just thugged it out. And he won. He did so much damage to Rebecki in this fight. showed a lot of heart, a lot of toughness, a lot of skill as well. His striking was sharp, and he's just a fucking dog, man. And I think it's a good style to beat Terrence McKinney. Now I worry though because obviously everybody knows Terrence McKinney. What you're getting is you're getting 5 minutes. You're getting 5 minutes of fucking hell from this kid every single time, and you either die or you beat him, right? And Chris Duncan's a guy who I do think his chin's a little bit. I don't trust it so much, but he was eating good shots off of Rebecca 3 months ago. I want to add though, there was some big. That's a big puncher to be eating all these shots from 3 months ago, going into a guy who's as dangerous early as Terrence McKinney. I think Chris Duncan just needs to slow down McKinney straight up. Maybe get the grappling going, burn some clock off in the first round. I think he's smart. I think he'll probably do that. And if he doesn't, he might go out there and just swing and bang and get chinned. It could happen. Terrence is that kind of fighter. But I trust Chris Duncan more often than not to win this fight. I think Terrence McKinney winning in the first round leans more into volatility, which obviously is possible. But I more often than not, they fight 10 times. I think Chris Duncan comes away with more victories just because, I trust him over 3 rounds. I trust him to push when he's tired or he's hurt. I trust him to push. I don't necessarily trust Terrence McKinney to do the same thing. And I've harped on Duncan's potential lack of durability, but it's not like Terrence McKinney's got elite durability either. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna go Chris Duncan. I think this is gonna be a fucking war though for however long it goes. Well, somebody's getting probably knocked the fuck out or strangled. I'm gonna lean Chris Duncan though. I've been impressed with his run lately, and honestly, Borishev's you finished him, but he's got you used his one weakness against him. Hadzovic is not good. Ribovich flatline KO. Brennan Rhodes horrible. Mike Breeden's horrible. Chris Duncan's beaten fucking Rebecca Vucinic Oki fighting Manuel Torres, who in my opinion is a much more dangerous version of what Terrence McKinney is. Right? I think Manuel Torres is a much more bigger, physical, more dangerous guy in the first round, in my opinion, than Terrence McKinney. And then Yanal Hashmouz, who's solid as well. Honestly, Yanal Hashmouz beats everybody probably but Borishev. Him and Borishev would have a close fight though. Hashmouz and Borishev, like, and that's the worst win in Duncan's last five. I'm going with Duncan. Yeah, Duncan KO. I think Duncan inside the distance. More than likely. I don't see this going all three though. Speaking of another fight, this is one I don't know. Keeping it a lightweight, man. Grant Dawson taking on Manuel Torres. Dude, I don't know. I don't know. I kind of just want to lean. I kind of just want to lean with Manuel Torres. I really do. I worry about Duncan's chin, dude. Like if Bobby Green's dropping you with one straight punch and knocking you out flatline cold, if you play the stand-up game early with Manuel Torres and he gets hit, he might actually die. But he has such good grappling. He's got such good ground and pound. He's got great submissions. He's got great control. And Manuel Torres is a guy who I think if he does not get the first round finish, it is pretty much a guaranteed loss for Manuel Torres if he does not get the guy out of there in 5 minutes. But I just really have a feeling he gets him out of there in the first 5 minutes. I just, I, fuck, dude, this one's so tricky for me. And these odds, too. Like, I think Grant Dawson's really fucking good, and he should be the favorite here. But there's just so much volatility in Manuel Torres. He's so dangerous. I mean, the way he went and blew up Chris Duncan. Just fucking walked at him, took the back and strangled him. Nicholas Mata, he killed him. Frank Camacho, he's not so good, but killed him. Drew Dober, Drew Dober's, he's washed, but he's not completely washed. To just chin him like that was fucking nuts to me. Bahamondes caught him coming in. He exposed him on the feet, but Bahamondes is levels above Grant Dawson in size, power, and his technical ability on the feet. I just think if Grant Dawson fights, like in my head, this feels to me like Michael Morales and Sean Brady in my head. And I picked Michael Morales to win by first round KO because I don't trust Grant Dawson necessarily to immediately go for the grappling. A lot of guys who are these grappling aces, they kind of feel it out on the feet. They want to get started on the feet first. And it's just I think it's a fucking mistake. You need to be shooting from the get-go. You can't wait until you get, a shot put on you before you start diving for the legs. You need to just go for it. You need to stick with what's in your wheelhouse, in my opinion. Not to say Grant Dawson's a complete zero on the feet, but like if this was a kickboxing contest, Manuel Torres would be minus 450. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go with the big underdog. I'm gonna go with Manuel Torres. I'm not super confident in this one. This is just mostly a feeling. Grant Dawson has the skill set to destroy Manuel Torres if he gets him down, and especially if he gets him out of the first round. Yeah, that's kind of what I expect. People picking Torres decision are out of their fucking mind. Just straight up. I'm gonna say Manuel Torres inside the distance. Low confidence. Opening up the main card at light heavyweight. Jan Blachowicz taking on Bogdan Guskov. Guys, I'm going with Jan Blachowicz. I don't give a fuck. I do not care. I am biased. I do think he wins this fight, though. Bogdan Guskov is wildly dangerous. He's very powerful. He's very good at finding his shots from weird angles. He knocked out Nikita Krylov, devastating. Billy Elikana, a little bit sketchy against Billy Elikana. Remember that. Did not love that performance. Ryan Spanny KO'd him. I picked him to do that as an underdog. Zach Plauga is a schmuck, in my opinion. Compared to Jan Blachowicz, it's not even comparable, the competition level. Now I know Jan Blachowicz is ancient, and I know he's got a few losses, but my thing with Jan Blachowicz is he's literally never given me a reason not to have at least a little bit of trust in him to win this fight. And when I look at these fights here, man, I mean Bogdan Guskov is by far his easiest opponent. And this is gonna be his sixth fight with these included. This is by far the easiest fight for him here compared to these. Carlos Ulberg's going to fight either for a title shot or he's just going to straight up fight for the belt. Alex Pereira, split decision, almost beat 205 Pereira. It's not easy, right? Magomed Ankalaev, split decision, almost got Ankalaev out of there with those leg kicks. Beat Rakic. It was an injury, though. We didn't really get to see how it was going, but he's looking all right in that fight. Glover Teixeira, he lost. But this was a bad performance. Jan Blachowicz was hurt. I believe his neck was fucked up in this fight. So when Glover got on the neck, it was just kind of, and his durability seems good. He doesn't make too many mistakes on the feet, really. He still has power, similar probably to Guskov. But I think he's got a decent grappling advantage. Like, I think he can beat Bogdan Guskov similarly to how Volkan Oezdemir did it. Granted, it was 2 years ago, and Bogdan Guskov is making gains. He's the younger guy for sure. But I think he can sting Guskov on the feet. And I do think he's got a decent grappling and submission game. It's not that good. But Jan Blachowicz, I believe, at his absolute base, I believe he has a black belt. I could be wrong. But fuck, dude. I'm going with Jan Blachowicz. I don't know. He doesn't seem uber washed to me. And a lot of people thought he beat Ulberg too. Like this fight was very close with Ulberg. He had a very close fight with Pereira, a very close fight with Ankalaev. These are all championship level guys. I'm not 100% Guskov is. I think this is a step down for Blachowicz. I think this is winnable for him. I'm leaning Jan Blachowicz. I think he can win this. I think he can win this fight any which way. I think he can win inside the distance or decision. Seems like people kind of agree with that as well. I'm just going to say Jan Blachowicz wins a decision. He might not take too many chances against Guskov because he's very dangerous and powerful. He's big, he's fast, and he's got great shot placement. Might be a little bit more patient and get a decision here. Medium confidence in that one, but I'm going to go Jan Blachowicz. Moving up to bantamweight, Henry Cejudo taking on Peyton Talbot. Peyton Talbot coming in as an almost minus 300 favorite over the former double champion Henry Cejudo. And I know a lot of people are probably going to be picking Henry Cejudo because, Peyton Talbot got destroyed by Raoni Barcelos. But I'm going to offer you one thought I have. I think Peyton Talbot's better on the feet than Henry Cejudo. I think he's more dangerous on the feet, period. He's a bigger guy for sure, longer guy for sure. I think he's got better eyes than Henry Cejudo. I think he has better shot placement than Henry Cejudo. I think he's better on the feet, period. I think Peyton Talbot's pretty legit on the feet. A lot of people would argue that Henry Cejudo, he's just going to do what Raoni Barcelos did and wrestle him and grapple him. My problem with Henry Cejudo has always been, he is an elite wrestler. However, you see it in certain Olympic wrestlers like Yoel Romero as well. Yoel Romero is one of these guys. who he can get a takedown on anybody. Henry can take anybody down in this bantamweight division. Doesn't matter. He cannot hold them there. It's like he takes them down, they get back up every single time. He's never been the kind of guy who has any threat with ground and pound or a submission. It's never been his thing, really. Tony Barcelos, he's not anywhere close on the level of wrestler that Henry is, but he's got better control and he's got a better submission threat. He's also a lot bigger, and we just saw Tony Barcelos stop and negate the wrestling of Ricky Simone, who once again isn't as good as Cejudo, but he's a giant physical guy. Ricky Simone, he's strong. Tony Barcelos was able to shuck him off. You know what I mean? I like Payne Talbot here, dude. He's way bigger. He's way more dangerous on the feet. He's much younger. A lot of people picking Cejudo when it's fair, right? He's obviously, but I don't think 3 rounds helps Henry either. I think 3 rounds hurts him. It's not like he hasn't taken any damage. He didn't look great against Song Yadong. Merab Dvalishvili, he landed a good shot, but he got fucking manhandled. Aljamain Sterling, this was a razor close fight. But, I don't know. I just think, I'm going to go with Payne Talbot. I don't know. I just think he's more dangerous. I really, really, really do. And this win over Felipe Lima is really good as well. I think Felipe Lima is legit as fuck. And he's one of my favorite prospects in the UFC in general. This is a good win because Felipe Lima is insanely well-rounded and dangerous. I'm going to go with Payne Talbot. I don't know. I just think Henry Cejudo's washed, man. And he's got other ventures outside of fighting. I don't know if he's 100% committed to the game. Moving up to flyweight, another sick fucking banger. Brandon Moreno taking on Tatsuro Taira. Another close fight where I'm pretty torn. But part of me, I want to pick Tatsuro Taira here. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, what? We saw him get fraud checked by Brandon Royval. I know he got fraud checked by Brandon Royval. Not really a fraud check, but I picked Brandon Royval to beat him. As a matter of fact, this entire card, this Brandon Royval card, I swept it. All right? Yeah, I'm self-glazing. Tatsuro Taira was really good, though. And my thing with Brandon Moreno in this matchup is I think he has a distinct edge in the boxing and the high-level experience, period. My problem is every single one of Brandon Moreno's fights has been a 5-rounder since however many fucking years. This is a 3-rounder. And my thing with Tatsuro Taira is I think he's outgunned on the feet, period. Even though his striking's solid, and he's got decent power as well. My thing is, if Tatsuro Taira is able to get Brandon Moreno down on the mat and he locks up that body triangle, that's the round over. I rewatched this fight with Brandon Royval, and it was a competitive fight, but Royval did land good damage. Whenever Tatsuro Taira would get on his back and lock in that body triangle, it was the round over. And it's not like Brandon Royval wasn't doing the right things. He was using the perfect defense to escape that body triangle every single time, and he was incapable of doing it. He could not do it. This kid is genuinely the best off of your back, I think, in the division. And I'm saying that with Pantoja in the division. The way, maybe not submission threat, but the way he can stay on your back is fucking inhuman. And in 3-rounders, he only needs to do that twice. I don't worry about him gassing out because he's gone 5 hard rounds against a guy, in my opinion, and Brandon Royval, who pushes a way higher pace than Brandon Moreno. Matter of fact, Brandon Royval pace mogged Brandon Moreno not that long ago. Moreno's looked good lately. He has. But these are 5-rounders that both went the distance. This fight with Urseg was a little bit closer. And I don't think Urseg's that good. I don't think Urseg's on the level of a Tatsuro Taira. I think Taira would beat Urseg. Flat out. I'm leaning Tatsuro Taira here. I just don't like the 3 rounds for Brandon Moreno. And Moreno can land good shots, and he could probably hurt Taira. Taira's got decent power as well. I just think he's got a sick grappling advantage here. He might not have the wrestling to get it down, but I think he wins this fight, dude. I really do. Ugh. It's a tricky one. I don't blame anybody for picking Brandon Moreno here. But seriously, it is that big of a deal. The 3 rounds is really putting me off. If this was 5 rounds, I'd probably be picking Brandon Moreno. But this guy just needs to get dominant position 2 times, and he wins this fight because I don't think Brandon Moreno finishes him in 3 rounds. I don't. So I'm going with Tatsuro Taira. I think he wins a decision here. Maybe a split decision. I think this is going to be a close competitive fight. I don't really see him finishing Brandon. I'm going to lean Tyra. And moving up to the co-main event, keeping it at flyweight, Alejandro Pantoja taking on Joshua Van. I fade Alejandro Pantoja a lot, mostly for the bit. I do the same thing with Merab too. It's not like I don't like Pantoja. I think he's one of the most exciting fighters in this division, period, and most underrated champions in this division, period. It's just I feel like he's got this style that I feel like is beatable, and I keep picking guys. I'm like, oh, they could probably do it. They can't do it. Nobody can do it. It's the same thing with Marab. I'm like, oh, well, there's certain things he doesn't do too well where he can be exposed. Nobody can fucking expose the guy. He's too proficient. He's too much of a dog. And I certainly don't think Joshua Van's the guy to do it. I think he's too young. I think this is the definition, in my opinion, of too much too soon. He had a great performance against Brandon Royval. It's a 3-round fight, though. This is not that. And Brandon Royval is a guy who I picked to beat Joshua Van because I thought he could mix it up a little bit. But Brandon Royval just refused to do that, and they just swang and bang for all 15 minutes. Pantoja is going to be in Joshua Van's face this entire fight. I think he's got much more durability than Joshua Van. I don't think Joshua Van's got a good chin. I really don't. He got knocked out by Charles Johnson, which is fine. I believe he got wobbled bad by Kevin Borjas. I believe he almost got knocked out by Edgar Chairez, which I was worried about that happening. I remember in my Sphere breakdown, I was like, he took this fight way too soon after getting chinned by Charles Johnson. Edgar Chairez is dangerous, and he's allowed to hurt Van bad. And I was right. I still picked Van, but I was right in my hesitancy to do so. Pantoja's he's worse on the feet. He's worse in the boxing than Joshua Van, flat out. No questions asked. But he's got solid power, and his durability is quite literally inhuman. He can push a pace for 5 rounds hard, and obviously he's got the grappling advantage. And Joshua Van, he's such a young guy who has not been training grappling that long. He does dumb shit in the grappling a lot. I believe this is also in the Cherez fight he was doing this, and I think he's done this in other fights where he tries to get aggressive with like leg locks and shit like that. Dude, if you do something like that, Pantoja's gonna smash you on the mat. We cannot be making these fight IQ mistakes in the grappling against Pantoja because this is a different level of comp entirely. If you make one singular error in judgment in the grappling, especially, that is the fight over. And I just don't know if Joshua Van, even though he has incredible boxing and he's going to be countering Pantoja and landing good shots on the feet, maybe stinging Pantoja with a couple. I just don't know if it's enough to stop Pantoja from marching in, getting him up against the cage, getting him down, and strangling him. You know, I just don't know if Joshua Van has the danger factor to do that. I feel like he's a smaller flyweight too. He's about the same size as Pantoja. Ah, Kai Car France is a guy who's got a lot of power and he's got good. Kai Car France has good takedown defense, really good. And Pantoja just diddled him. Kai Asakura is a guy, not great takedown defense or submission defense, but what he has is different. He's got insane danger in all of his limbs. His knees are dangerous. His hands are insanely powerful. He hits guys hard. So, you think, oh, maybe he can get some respect from Pantoja and land a big shot on him. Didn't work at all. Steve Erceg. Steve Erceg had a close fight, which I thought he would do because Steve Erceg at his absolute base is a grappler. People thought Steve Erceg was some champion boxer because he knocked out fucking Matt Schnell. Get fucking real, buddy. He's a grappler with a great jiu-jitsu base, so he was hip to a lot of the stuff Pantoja was doing. Brandon Royval just mogged him, honestly, on the mat. And you watch Royval fight Tyra. I mean, and Brandon Moreno just dogged him for 5 rounds. It was a close fight. I don't think this was a split decision, though. It's just, this guy's been doing this at the highest level for so long. And I think, if it was in a couple of years, maybe Pantoja was like 38 and Van was like 27, 28, I'd be more inclined to pick him. I just don't think the grappling is going to be there. And I don't think Joshua Van's got anything that Pantoja hasn't seen on the feet. It might be a different style of boxing. It might be the cleanest boxing he's been in there with. But Pantoja's boxed with high level guys in this division. I see no reason why he can't just do the same thing he always does, march across there, take down Joshua Van, and strangle him, especially with the errors in judgment Van seems to make in grappling scenarios, in my opinion. And moving up to bantamweight to close out the card, Merab Dvalishvili taking on Peter Yan for the second time. Guys, once again, I always fade Merab. This one genuinely is a bit like I'm just gonna pick against Merab. But Merab's a dog, dude. He is the greatest bantamweight of all time. He's entering actual GOAT conversations. I think he should be pound for pound #1 right now. Maybe Islam, but Merab #2. I think he's pound for pound above Ilya right now, straight up. Um, and this is his fourth defense in the year, man. Now, I want to say this. Peter Yan is my favorite bantamweight in the division right now, period. He's got the deepest bag. He's so technical everywhere. I think he's so great. I do think this line is wide. Plus 350 on Peter Yan is wide. Okay? But I do think Merab beats it. Now, I do think Peter Yan's going to have a better performance in this fight than their first fight. Peter Yan was injured in that first fight. You could see it plain as day. But if he comes into this fight not injured, what is that going to do, really? Is it going to take a 50-45 that Merab had in the first fight and make it, what, like a 48-47? You know, Peter Yan is... He's normally a guy who beats guys over 5 rounds with his pressure and his pace. But I don't know if he can do that here. I think he's more dangerous. If anybody's getting a finish, I feel like it would be Peter Yan. He's got good power, and he lands with nasty, nasty intentions. But Merab, man, almost knocked out Sandhagen, subbed up Sean O'Malley. You know, he's getting. It's crazy to say, but I feel like he's getting fucking better. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Merab Dvalishvili here. I have to. And this will be the watch. This will be the one Merab loses, and I'm gonna look like a total fucking moron when I faded Merab like last 4 fights. And then the time I don't, he'll lose to Peter Yan, which would be fun with me because I love Peter Yan. But Peter Yan, 3-fight win streak, Yadong Song, Davison Figueiredo, and Marcus McGee, all good performances. I do feel like Peter Yan's a little bit washed though, just a little bit. He, I just, I think he wins a couple of rounds. I just don't think it's enough. Merab just seems like he's on a different level from everybody in this division, just flat out. I have to go with Merab here, seriously. As cute as it would be to go with Peter Yan to win this fight, I can't rely on him chinning Merab because Merab's recovery is inhuman. I can't rely on him decisioning Merab because it just seems fucking impossible. I gotta go with Merab by decision. I think it'll be a closer fight, maybe like a 48-47, 49-46 on one judge's scorecard. That's my prediction. Um, yeah, I do think the line's a little bit wide here. I saw Peter Yan's spread at plus 9.5, which I really do like from a betting perspective. I don't give betting advice, but plus 9.5 Peter Yan, I do think is value. I don't think he gets finished here. I think he's capable of winning at least a fucking round. Yeah, I'm going to win with Merab. Yeah. I hope Yan wins, though. Actually, I don't mind if Merab wins because then, he breaks that record and he's been super active, which I do appreciate a lot as a fan. But Peter Yan he's my goat. He's my Pookie. But yeah, that's it for UFC 323, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching. And I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.